Okay. Going to try a simultaneous YouTube live and Instagram live, both of which I'm not very good at here. So we'll see how this goes. So yeah, I just want to go live here mainly because I'm sitting in front of my backdrop that I use for the Take Care Men podcast with Andy from the Opinionated Brit. So we just recorded our second episode of the podcast. The podcast is all about mental health, men's mental health. And on a second episode, we had a guest, Garrett Smallwood, GW Smallwood from the Shaving Disciple on YouTube. So that episode will be uploading pretty soon. But the first one's already out there. You can find it by going to my website, takecareman.com, or you can actually go to takecaremen.com, which will take you directly to the podcast. It's currently available on Podbean, so a link to that's there. Also, we'll put a link here, I guess, in the stream if I'm able to do that, or in the description for the YouTube live. And I'm not sure if I can do that on Instagram live or not. Hey, Reed, joining, and hello, Razor Company, for joining there on Instagram. But yeah, check out our podcast. Like I said, the first episode has been up now for a couple weeks, but we talk all about men's mental health. And yeah, like I said, Andy from the Opinionated Brit, myself, really something we're both passionate about, and wanted to get started on. And in the first episode, we talk a lot about our own mental health stories, talk about our own struggles we've been through mental health wise. We do touch on wet shaving a little bit in the video, and definitely in this second episode we just recorded, we touch on that as well. So again, you can find that first episode at takecareman.com or even takecaremen.com, which takes you directly to it. It's out there on Podbean. I'll put the links in the description, and also you can go to Andy's YouTube channel, The Opinionated Brit, and see the video of the first episode as well. It's also there on takecareman.com. So just wanted to raise some awareness about the podcast, and would love if you would, share our post that we put out. I'll put a post out about the second episode when it's ready to go. But yeah, we're really proud of it. And also just know that, like, if you're interested in coming on to the podcast and sharing your own mental health story, please do that. Or if you have questions about men's mental health, please let us know what questions you have. We're actually going to have a giveaway in the second episode. I announced it in the second episode, which is going to be hello, Ben. See you there on YouTube Live, where we are going to give away a soap set and balm set, so we can ship internationally. It doesn't have to be just CONUS, of the Lakewood Soap Company's Smoky Mountain Rain, which I used in my high top shave on top of Klingman's Dome, the highest point in Tennessee. And to enter that, what you'll do is just give us a comment about a question you have about men's mental health. You can remain anonymous in terms of the question. You can let us know whether you want your name to be mentioned or keep it anonymous. But also, we're asking for tips you have on how you check in with your buds, how you check in with your mates or your friends. Like, how do you text or call or whatever to see how a friend is doing? Do you have like a number system where you say, hey, I'm about a 5 out of 10 today, or whatever, or been having fights with the wife this week, or my job is tough this week, or whatever? What are some ways that you check in with friends and let them know how you're doing? Like, how do you do that in a way that is fits in with what works for you and what works for your friends? Just curious about what you do with that. So I would love that. Oh, good, Ben. I'm glad you enjoyed the pilot episode. So yeah, if you've not seen the first episode of the Take Care Men podcast, a men's mental health podcast, please do check it out. Again, I think you'll enjoy hearing Andy's story of what he's been through, and then my story as well as what I've been through in terms of mental health. So yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think. We take any suggestions, and would love to have some guests come on too in the future, like we did with the Shaving Disciple, which that episode will be posting soon. So those of you popping on in the YouTube Live and in the Instagram Live, I appreciate you being here. And I guess while I'm here, just to I've got several people here. I'll do, the Opinionated Brit. I guess I will do, very quickly, like, ask me anything. Anybody have any questions for me? Not that I'm that interesting, but I've not done these lives before, so I thought I would just throw it out there. I see my niece has joined. Surely she has a question she could ask me. Anybody got any questions for me on either the YouTube Live or the Instagram Live? It can be about anything. It can be, why is one of my walls green? It could be, where did I get this hat? I don't care. Like anything. It's certainly hot today here again in Tennessee. Look, I got 5 watching on the YouTube live. I'm sure this simultaneous Instagram live and YouTube live doesn't work that well because I've got the cameras in 2 different places and I can't hold my phone up here. But hopefully, like Andy and I are talking, the Opinionated Brit are talking about eventually doing the podcast, obviously as a recorded show, but also live, so we could take questions live in parts of in a segment of the show. So eventually, we want to eventually have it be both a YouTube and Instagram live as along with the regular podcast, so that we can get more viewer interaction during the show. What created my passion for men's mental health? Great question. So I am a social work professor. That's what I do for a living. I used to be the director of a community mental health center. I was a psychotherapist, but also just as a man, particularly a middle-aged man, I've been alarmed by seeing the rising rates of suicide among middle-aged men, particularly among middle-aged white men, which is an interesting dynamic. So just wanting to try to affect change and trying to reduce the number of suicides in men and just increasing men's mental health overall. And also just knowing that the wet shaving hobby has really helped me in terms of my own mental health. It's been a way for me to sort of chill out, relax, meditate. It's really helpful for me, and also just doing YouTube videos has been helpful as well. But yeah, I just have a passion both as a professor of social work and someone who's interested in mental health, and just someone honestly going through tough things in my own life, and just knowing that having other men to talk to is really helpful. How do I cope with anxiety and PTSD when therapy doesn't seem to work? Is a question. Yeah, that's a tough one. One thing I would say is keep in mind that therapists are kind of like barbers. Like, you might get some bad haircuts until you find the right barber. But sometimes you can even find a really good therapist and things are still not working. One thing I would say is, consider trying medication as a possibility, talking to your family doctor about that. But it's always best if you can get in with an actual psychiatrist, which most people are reluctant to do. But that's like, you wouldn't want a shade tree mechanic, at least that's what we call them here in the US, like rebuilding your transmission. You take your transmission to a transmission place that specializes in transmissions. That's true with mental health. Only half of the people with mental health issues ever seek help, and only half of those that do seek help seek it from a specialty mental health provider. The majority of them just get it from their family physician or their general practitioner. So, finding a good psychiatrist, you might have to go to a larger city in your area to find a good one. They're hard to find. But that's one thing to consider. But medication and even therapy is not always the answer. One thing I would say is, reading books related to an issue that you're dealing with, but also finding a support group of other people going through the same things you're going through. So other people dealing with anxiety or people dealing with PTSD, and connecting with them. Watching our podcast, like, we will continue to address these issues each week and talk about it, but mostly do not, just don't isolate yourself. In this episode that we're working on now, that'll be uploading, that we just recorded, we talked a lot about loneliness, because people had question about what is normal, like, what does normal feel like? How do you know when you might need help? What do you do when you're feeling lonely? And you can feel lonely when you're in a crowded room, even with people that care about you and that are your friends. You can feel lonely if you're not truly connecting with people. So, being able to reach out with friends and have people that you talk to on a regular basis about what's going on. But there's tons of things out there that you can do. And I actually can, any questions that you have, you can actually email me. Like, if you have, I can actually send you some extended answers. You can email me at Todd, at takecareman.com. And I'd be glad to send you some other resources if you have questions. What are some good ways to support men's mental health? Raise your company. A great way is to consider a sponsorship, or even like coming on the show. We'd love to have prominent people within the community coming on and sharing their own mental health stories, but also just just sort of raising awareness and sharing things that sort of normalize men talking about the mental health. There's still a whole lot of stigma. So honestly, just being able to raise the awareness, a real tangible thing you can do that sort of what can what's the best way to say this is like sort of low uh, commitment in terms of it's something that's already organized. Is every November, there's probably the awareness for prostate cancer awareness, and that's through an organization called Movember. So M instead of N in November, Movember. And they have a lot of great resources there about men's mental health and how to support men's mental health. There's also a barber in the UK who is educating barbers about how to talk to their clients or their customers about mental health. There's lots of ways, but that's a great question that I would love to make an episode where we talk specifically about how can you be a part of helping out other men or helping the whole purpose of men's mental health. But yeah, just sharing our podcast link, raising awareness, just trying and normalize talking about it. Something that like First Line Shave did. First Line Shaves when they did the weight soap, which was a soap that drew attention to PTSD. Like that's an extremely helpful thing. Also, like something I'm really interested in is eventually creating, and Andy is too, creating maybe a shaving soap geared towards mental health. So, for example, I talk a lot in my shave videos about essential oils and how they are actually been proven to help with mental health issues. And so I'd love to see like some artisans get into the whole game of trying to make soaps intentionally designed to sort of lift spirits or to address some issues. So, yeah, thanks, Mr. G. Hello there. Glad that you can join me. Ben, yeah, looking into service dogs. I mean, more and more people are using service animals as it relates to anxiety and PTSD. And I know, like, just in an informal way, like and we have 2 dogs. We do have a cat, and we're about to adopt a one-eyed kitten that my wife fell in love with at the vet's yesterday, that she committed to before asking me, but she knew I'd say yes. She knew I'm a softie. So I just know having pets around for us and they've done studies. Again, I'm a professor of social work, and they've done studies that like actually petting a pet like increases your mental health. It lowers your blood pressure. They're good for you. I find turning a hobby into a business, even if it doesn't make a lot of money, can be really good for mental health. Us men are goal accomplish oriented, so sharpening knives, turning bows. Totally agree with you, Haggard 184. That's so true. That I find like there's times when I get so busy that I have a hard time making the videos. Hey, Derek, Daily Carry Solutions, thanks for joining. I'm anxious to catch up on all your Blade Show videos. But I know that I feel better mental health wise when I've like actually made one of my videos, just because in an odd way, I feel like I'm connecting with people that I know are going to comment. But you're exactly right. Like we tend to be goal oriented. We want to feel like we're being productive. I know like being able to do something with my hands. So if I can get out in my garage and like do a woodworking project, not even have to be anything, heck, I love, even though it needs cutting right now pretty badly, I actually love cutting my grass. It's one of those rare things you do something and you immediately see a result. Like your job may not be that way usually. So, but yeah, having some sort of craft or hobby that you enjoy, I think is important. So yeah, if it's and we have to be careful because that's something I've talked about a lot is that hobbies can get out of hand if you're not careful, like wet shaving. But I know like right now I'm kind of getting into like learning different things about coffee, like how to make, coffee, like using the pour over technique or whatever. But yeah, actually creating things that are out there. Like I took on building a set of shelves for my daughter. Well, it was a dollhouse that transferred into shelves later when she got older. That was fun. That was, something that that sort of helped increase my mental health. Anytime I find I can use my hands to create something, that tends to be helpful to me. Let's see. Daily shave can help. Just going through the routine. Yeah, just going through the routine with picking out a razor, brush, soap. I will say this: I have found like if we tend to buy too much shaving stuff, and that is a thing, guys. Don't kid yourself. Like it's a thing. Like find your healthy balance on purchasing shaving gear. But sometimes I fall into paralysis of analysis where I don't know what I'm going to use because I got so many choices. And my friend Dave, I did a video where he actually talked about how his marriage almost ended over buying too much shaving stuff. He was hiding purchases, but in that video, he talks about how he has a card system he uses that helps him pick which particular shaving soap to use on a given day. Is kind of a game for him, which is kind of cool. But yeah, no, just the ritual of taking your time to pick which scent you want to smell that day, which razor you want to use. Yeah, I mean, I can't. In fact, I am looking to put forth a proposal. When you're a professor at a university, you have to get your research approved to show that it's not going to be harmful to people. But I'm looking at putting together a proposal to actually survey wet shavers about how wet shaving has affected their mental health because of this crisis among men, particularly middle-aged men in mental health. I'm actually wanting to see that like wet shaving can be a suggested a partial intervention. Like, here's an idea, like, consider doing wet shaving because it's a very meditative, relaxing practice. So as a self-care practice. So I'm interested in looking at that from a research standpoint. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, paralysis analysis is definitely a thing. It is like, it's what it is. Paralysis analysis. Uh, 5 days before sharing. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you have to kind of swap it up to course, sort of keep it fresh. Or let me check up that. Wow, I'm pleased that so many people are joining here. So we've got some other things here. There's a new startup artisan in the UK that talks about men's mental health. Oh, okay. You may have heard. Yeah, I have heard of Lothar. I guess that's how you say it. I have seen their soaps. I think we saw the razor company on here earlier. Anybody, if you're still in here live, anybody suggest one of the scents there from Lothar, Lothur? Which scent would you suggest there? I've seen a couple of them reviewed in videos, but I've been wanting to check them out. But yeah, I would love to hear more about that, Mr. G. I need to watch some of your videos and see if you've talked about that in one of the recent ones. If you're still on the live, I'd be interested in how they're talking about men's mental health. Is it part of what they're incorporating into their soap, like in naming their soap or their themes of their soaps? Just interested, Daily Carry Solutions. If you're still on, what's the knife you're most interested in getting coming out of Blade Show? Oh, okay, you're over on you're on YouTube. You're on YouTube live now. Yeah, I'm just interested to see if there's a knife coming out of Blade Show that you're really interested in getting. After taking care of my girlfriend's elderly parents for 2 years, I was feeling burnt out, like I had nothing for myself, no me time. Getting back into wet shaving, got that. Yeah, listen, guys, caregiving is extremely stressful. Particularly if you're caring for someone that needs, 24-hour care. The rates of depression, anxiety, and insomnia among caregivers is really high. So caregiving is really, really stressful. And obviously it's a sacred honor to be able to care for loved ones, but it's important to recognize that it is stressful and tiring, and you need to try to build in respite where you have people that can come in and take over and give you some time away. But yeah, even doing that over an extended period of time, sometimes can even feel guilty to allow yourself to have time away, even once maybe that caregiving has ended. It's an exhausting. Caregiving can be exhausting. Even though the loved one you're caring for is going through something really, really difficult, it's also really tiring doing caregiving. So you want to try to take extra special efforts to do your self-care activities. Going for a walk, doing your shaves, those kinds of things. Let's see. Yeah, so Daily Carry Solutions, you may still be typing, but yeah, I'm interested to see if there was a particular knife that you saw at Blade Show. Or was it Blade Show you went to or Shot? No, it wasn't Shot Show. It was Blade Show, wasn't it? That you saw this year. So I'm going to stick on, honestly, so Daily Carry Solutions, check him out, by the way, on YouTube, as well as Mr. G Shaves and several of these others that have been mentioned here. Looking to support more U.S. companies, Hinderer, Spartan Blades, ProTech, et cetera. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I've been wanting to pull the trigger on some of these. I've got a little Kaiser mini sheepdog I like a lot, but they've come out with some with a forward finger choil. I'm interested in those. They have a special one right now on their website that's like aluminum. I think it's gold, like yellow aluminum scales. But yeah, Blade Show East in Atlanta, but I do attend SHOT Show too. Okay, so that's the one you went to, Blade Show East Atlanta. Okay, cool. That's close enough for me to consider going sometime. Let's see if we got anything else on Instagram Live. Okay, got another comment here. So it's talking about her, Haggard, who was mentioning a comment earlier about caregiving, talking about his girlfriend's elderly parents. Her father's 85 and his dementia progressed very quickly over the last years. It helped immensely. Yeah. Like, and I think you were mentioning specifically about how shaving was helpful to you during that time. Yeah, it is. Like being able to take care of yourself when you're caregiving is hugely important. Um, okay, testing a Kaiser prototype. That sounds like you're in with the big boys there. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Kaiser and Civivi particularly interest me a lot. I'm a big Spyderco guy. I have owned a couple Benchmates when I got rid of them. I'm a big forward finger choil guy. I do have a video out there on budget pocket knives on on my channel. It's like super old, but yeah, I'm a forward finger choil guy on knives. But I love some of the things that Civivi and Kaiser have done. I really like what they're doing. Have I heard of the leaf? Yeah, I have heard of the leaf twig. I've never tried it. I'm be interested to see, Captain Will, if you've tried it before. I've been interested in trying it. I do know about it, but I haven't used it. Okay, so Mr. G Shave is saying the Lothar. I hope I'm pronouncing that Lothar, Lothur. I'm sure many of you've seen the Instagram post, Shave of the Day pics, videos out there. Again, I'm apologize. I'm a little jittery here on my Instagram live. I'm trying to hand hold this while doing the Facebook, the YouTube live. But he says that the scents are Calm, Tears, and Dave. And so I think they must be related around mental health. And that his personal favorite is Calm, which is based on lavender and eucalyptus. Listen, the lavender and eucalyptus, obviously lavender, probably the most researched essential oil, very calming, but eucalyptus helps boost your spirit, increase your mood, make you more alert. Eucalyptus has got tons of research behind it as well. So that's great. I'd have to check out Calm, because I can see how the eucalyptus would kind of like raise awareness, but also calm you with the lavender in there. That sounds like a really good combination. I don't think I've seen a eucalyptus and lavender soap, so I may have to check out Calm. That sounds good. Thanks for sharing that, Mr. G. Yeah, Captain Will, I have to try out the leaf twig. I don't know if does that come in different finishes, or is there just one model of the leaf twig? But you say it's better than any DE, huh? I'll have to check it out. Definitely have to check that out. Hey, Andy, thanks for jumping on. Yeah, I was just doing a little live here on both Instagram and YouTube, sort of pitching the podcast, the first episode, and telling them a little bit about the second podcast. Kaiser was the first company to support the channel, so I've always been apt to help them. I agree. I love a good choil. My ADC rotation when not reviewing is Spyderco Little Native with Flytanium scales. Yeah, I have a large Manix 2 XL with custom scales. Well, I say custom scales like when you buy those custom scales from Blade HQ that I love. But for some reason, I don't like the smaller leaf-shaped blades. I do love the Dragonfly. Honestly, the Spyderco knife I use most often is I have a ladybug salt with the hawkbill serrated hanging in my kitchen that I've had for like a decade. And that thing has never lost sharpness, even though it's, serrations. And for opening like food packages or anything else, like you don't have to worry about, it getting wet. So it's perfect for that. I know you wet shavers are wondering why we're talking about pocket knives here, but me and Daily Carry Solutions are kind of geeking out here. Can you and Andy talk about mental health and substance abuse on the pod? Most definitely. In fact, it's important to note that substance abuse issues are mental health issues. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which is the book that psychiatrists use here in the U.S. to diagnose mental health issues, substance abuse issues are in there and considered mental health issues. I used to run support groups for people with various mental health issues. It was like, in other words, I was in there as someone going through mental health issues. It was a support group for peers. And we used to joke. So people would come by the depression group. Like I was in a group where we were dealing with depression and anxiety, and people would say, oh, is this the group for alcoholics, or is this the group for people addicted to, opioids or whatever? And we would say, no, it's 2 doors down, which there would be like another group focused on that. But then we would whisper under their breath after they left, but we'll see you back here in 6 weeks or whatever. Because the thing is usually when people get clean and sober, there's often an underlying mental health issue that they've been self-medicating. They've been taking medication or drinking alcohol to try to address those mental health issues. So they're related. And so in the mental health professions, we talk about dual diagnosis, which means you're dealing with both a substance abuse issue and a mental health issue at the same time. Very, very, very common. And so treating those at the same time is very important. Yeah, Andy, you're selling yourself too short. You know quite a bit yourself, and this podcast would not have even been happening. The Take Care Men podcast, again, go to takecareman.com or go to the Opinionated Brit to see our YouTube channel to see our first episode. If Andy hadn't reached out to me, I would have never been able to get this kind of podcast off the ground. So I appreciate it. He's a podcast veteran at this point. So back to the subject of pocket knives. It looks like I got a lot of people here on YouTube and not as many on Instagram, which is fun. But I'm going to keep the Instagram open here. I tend to prefer smaller knives because they offer office friendly. Yeah, people will freak out sometimes. You pull out a knife, like I remember pulling out a Mannix 2, not the XL, but just a regular Mannix 2 one time, and people like gasp. I guess they thought I was about to stab everybody. I don't know. Saw knives get better each time they're sharpened. Okay, back to show. Yeah. I love the Salt series from Spyderco. Spyderco, though, I'm a real big fan of the Chaparral. I think that's an amazing knife. I own like 4 of those, I think. Yeah. So can you have any kind of, like, what's the rules, Andy, in terms of knives in the UK? Can you have, I know it can't be a locking blade, right? Can you have one that's like less than 4 inches in blade length, or can you just not have a knife, period? Can you not carry a knife at all in the UK? I'm ignorant on UK knife rules. Yeah, I'm running. Hey, and I did, know your name. Is your name Carlos, Daily Carry Solutions? I think that's right. I hope I didn't just make up a name, but I think your name may be Carlos. But anyway, I'm curious if you've ever considered sharpening one of your pocket knives to the point of like honing it and actually trying to shave with it. There's so many of those razor shaped blades now, some of the cleaver shaped blades, and I'm trying to think of what you call the other, like some of the sheepfoot blades. Yeah. Well, it looks like we don't have anybody on Instagram Live, which is completely fine. We still have lots of people here on YouTube. We've currently got 10 folks. But yeah, I'm on let's see, where's the time at? Oh gosh, I've been rambling for 30 minutes, which is incredible. I can't believe we've been talking that long. So I appreciate the interaction. Yeah. So yes, sir, it is. I guess that's yes, sir, that your name is Carlos. Or is it also, yes, sir, you've considered sharpening a pocket knife and shaving with it? But yeah, I appreciate those of you that popping in, either watching this on replay or popping in live. Hello. Oh, Garrett. Hey, Garrett. We're just talking about, I was just talking about recording our last episode and the first episode that Andy and I did, and just trying out I'm doing a simultaneous Instagram live and YouTube live. By the way, if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, you can still do YouTube live on your computer. You just can't do it through a mobile device. So I've been just trying it out. No, Ben, I don't. This is a great question. So Ben asked the question, do you think actually, Garrett, you're on Instagram Live. I don't know if you're still in here, but he's asking a question that you might be more qualified to answer. He's saying, do you think having a, quote, sober date is necessary for success? So I'll answer this. I think a lot of people really find a sober date as being a motivating factor, but here's the thing: is the next day you can be sober. In other words, I think too many people focus on being perfectly sober and hitting, and if they fall off that perfection wagon, then it sends them in a downward spiral to using more or drinking more or whatever. So like you can be sober in the next second, right? Like it's about the next decision you make about whether to use or whether to drink. So I think sometimes people get hung up too much on long sprints of sobriety. That's to be celebrated, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it should be a goal. But for people who fall off the wagon, the important thing is just getting back on, right? And not so much like how long have I been on or whatever. But again, I have not been in the recovery community in terms of alcohol and drugs, and so it's a little hard for me to answer that one. Um, let's see. Okay, so Mr. G Shave says yes. 3 inches is the rule in the UK. Can be, and I guess I think it can't be locking, right? It has to be a slip, what we call a slip joint, but I'm not for sure there. Um, so is shaving with straight razor the best shave? Captain Will, this is a question on YouTube Live. So for me, no, it's not. But it's part of that's because I've not gotten the skill yet. But I do like the shavettes, and I'm currently love my Kamasori Feather SS that uses the Artist Club blades. To me, the straight razors were not sharp enough. I guess I've just not got it honed well, or I just need to work on. I actually have some stones and get home it myself, but the person at home for me did a good job, but I just don't think I knew how to strop well. So I actually get currently, like if I take my straight razor and I take my Kamasori and I take my Rockwell 6S right now, I'm still getting better shaves with my Rockwell 6S. So you'll have some people that say it's a better shave. For me, what I suppose you could get so practiced in straight razor or Kamasori shaving that you enjoy it more. And right now, I really do enjoy shaving with the Kamasori shavette, but the straight razor, I've just not gotten proficient enough where I enjoy it. It's too stressful to me at this point, but I can see when I do get better with it that it would be enjoyable. But for me right now, if somebody said, okay, what shave would you enjoy? I'd grab my Rockwell 6S or my Merkur 43C. Goals are great motivators, but some don't really need it. That's true. So Garrett Shaving Disciple said, I found every time I did it, I didn't set a date. I found every time I did it was just a delay tactic. Okay, I got you. Yeah. So sometimes the date can be a trip up thing to you. But that's a great question. Welcome, Tobin's Throwbacks. Yeah, Rockwell's great. I love a lot of your Instagram photos, Tobin's Throwbacks. I think I just recently started following you. Let's see. Yeah, Andy, that's part of my problem is like I'm not good at maintaining things anyway. So like something that has to be, taken super care of and honed. Sometimes I'm running late. I don't have time to like a strop that I meant stropped and not honed. I don't have time to strop the razor or take care of it in a proper way. So being able to open a D blade and throw it into the Rockwell is much easier to deal with. If you have good form on stones, a good compound on your strop can take it to the next level. And I assume you're, Carlos, you mean the straight razor shaving. What was my problem, Carlos, on stropping razor blades or stropping straight razor was I was so used to laying my knife blades at an angle, right? Because the bevel, is different than the spine on a pocket knife, and it didn't register me that the spine is the same angle as the cutting edge or bevel on a straight razor. So I was angling the straight razor on the strop like I would a pocket knife, which rolls the edge, which was bad. So I think I rolled the edges on all of my straight razors that somebody honed for me at first. Yeah, I just think, the thing to Ben, I love what you're saying there because I think the thing's important is that you've been sober one day. I mean, if I know of anything, that phrase of one day at a time is what matters. Is like you're sober today. You'll think about tomorrow when tomorrow comes, but for today, you're sober, right? And if you're not sober today, guess what? You can be sober tonight, even though you're not sober today, and you can be sober tomorrow. So yeah, I think it sometimes if you hold out a long period of sobriety too much as an idol, if you will, that it could trip you up. Nothing wrong with it and should be celebrated, but the thing is what's the next right decision for you to make? Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just too much to like fool with a straight razor. Yeah, sorry. I know there's you that can't see the question. It's kind of weird because I'm just kind of stumbling. But yeah, Garrett, the shaving disciple, saying that he tried the shavettes and it was just too much of a contortionist type thing getting her. And Garrett, I can't remember. Are you using straights at all, or is it just shavettes you've tried before? but because for me, I can't even with the Shavette. Sorry about my squeaking chair. Even with the Shavettes, I can't. I can't. I don't like the folding razors at all. I like the commissaries. That handle gets in my way for some reason. I guess I could just rip the handle off. Rip the handle off. I'm trying to. I've got somebody who I've been trying to buy a real commissary from, but it looks like for some of those you can only shave with one side because it's only sharpened on one side the way they're made. Anyway, long story. I don't know enough about real commissary blades to purchase one or even what to pay for one. Let's see. So you tried, when you say tried those, do you mean tried commissaries or you tried straight razors? I can't remember if you've been using straight razors or not, Garrett. But yeah, I just can't. Yeah, I can't. I just struggle with the folding razors. So yeah, the commissary style Shavette right now is being my favorite. Not just the Artist Club style for the Artist Club, but also the Goodfellow Smiles has that half D one that I used. If you go back to my video on the weight soap from First Line Shave, I used it in that video as well. Yeah, so let's see. Good point. Check Mike Elmer's page on IG or YouTube. He does. Yeah, I think I have seen some of Mike Elmer's videos. They're really, really good. And I could actually geek out about sharpening because I love sharpening my pocket knives. I just have a Spyderco Sharp Maker, but I also have some pocket stones that I use. And I did buy like a 1,200 grit stone for finishing and also an 8,000 grit stone for finishing. So I just haven't been able to get into it at this point. So Mr. G shaves, back to the question about UK pocket knives, what's allowed. He says you have to have a very good reason to carry a blade of any length, but generally anything under 3 inches and non-locking won't get you into much trouble in the UK. Thanks for answering that, by the way, Mr. G. I was curious about how that was. Let's see. Well, I think I've rambled on here enough. I'm 36 minutes in, but I do appreciate people getting on here and participating in both Instagram and on YouTube. So I'll answer this question unless another one comes in after this, and it'll be my last one. So Carlos wants to know, what's my current favorite soap set? Oh gosh, that's hard. My current favorite, something I'm really enjoying that I'd actually tried a sample of and didn't like the scent of as much as I thought I would until I got the full puck and the set recently, was Good Vibrations from PAA. I'm a big fan of CAD and a big fan of the Beach. But yeah, there's some of these things that you cannot appreciate until you have lathered them up and put them to the face. I'm laughing because Andy, the opinionated Brit, just did a video on Fresco and he's sticking his tongue out because he's got Fresco. And obviously the rest of us who, since it just released today, don't have. He's rubbing it in my face there. But Douglas was sending out scents, at least samples in some previous orders. So I have at least put my nose on that one. But yeah, I'm Carlos. I'm currently enjoying Good Vibrations from PAA. Solid EDP. It's great. Yeah. Tobin's Throwbacks. I love those PAA, the EDTs and the solid colognes. I have the solid cologne in the Beach and really like it a lot. And yeah, I'm hoping to do a video very soon. I know it's been a while on my YouTube channel since I posted a video, but I hope to do a video very, very, very soon on my favorite PAA scents. And I have so many that it's embarrassing. Oh, wait. So it paused me on Instagram Live for some reason. But anyway, I'm going to do my favorite. I'd love to hear as I'm wrapping up. I do have, Andy, you'll have to help me out here. What's the name of the Phoenix and Bow soap that's got the little, the little circle that would be on British airplanes? Like what's is it Albion? No, it's not Albion. That's the other one that smells like Earl Grey, I think. But what's the one that smells like that smells like airplanes, biplanes during World War II? What's that one called? I've got that one, whatever that one's called. Luna. Oh, Spitfire. Yeah, it's Spitfire. That's it. Thank you. Yep. See, Mr. G and Tobin's Throwbacks beat me to it. Yeah, I don't. If you guys have ever tried Midnight Stag from chiseled face. I love that scent, but it's got like a petroleum and gasoline note mixed in there with leather and other things. And so the Spitfire's got a little bit of that like gasoline leather kind of thing going on. So I really like the way it smells. I haven't shaved with it yet. There needs to be a video coming up. But I struggle between the Albion and that one, but that's the one I picked up because that one is kind of my wheelhouse. And you don't get many soaps that openly sport the like gasoline or oil note. So I had to pick that up. Um, but yeah, let's see. All right. Well, let's see. I'm seeing what Carlos says. Fresco was great. I tried the aftershave from PA as a sample. And it was nice. Might order it. I'm looking at Seaforth Spice Lime. I can send over good vibrations. Interesting try it. Yeah. But yeah, I love good vibrations. It's great. I really do like it. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, episode 2 will be up there before too long. Those of you that have joined on both platforms, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. I'm sorry for the shakiness on Instagram Live, and sorry for looking back and forth between two cameras. Be crazy if I can figure out how to do Facebook Live at the same time as doing, but I don't know. I might have to have a second computer and webcam. But anyway, thanks for joining me again. Check out the first episode of the Take Care Men podcast. It's a podcast about men's mental health, co-hosted by Andy from the Opinionated Brit and myself, Todd from Take Care Man. Our second episode's coming very soon, which we have a guest host, which is Garrett from otherwise known as GW Smallwood from the Shaving Disciple. So yeah, thanks so much for everybody dropping in. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And as always, take care, man. All right, now how do I stop this crazy stuff?